I'm specifically talking about Jonathan Majors. We got news last week that Jonathan Majors was having a lot of problems with the law, that he had gotten into an altercation with his quote unquote girlfriend, or in some cases, where it was stated as she was a woman he knows. So, not necessarily labeling her his girlfriend. So, this chick and him got into it apparently over something, but in a taxi cab. And then the lawyers, his lawyers, released the text messages. Tom, did you have those handy by any chance? No. Okay.
I thought I sent you to him in here in the private chat here.
Maybe I didn't grab them. Maybe that's what happened.
I'll repost them for you.
Oh, okay.
Way at the top there. Yep.
Okay, it's already there. Okay, perfect.
Got it. Okay.
The variety one, right? Okay.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah, I think it's in there.
Now, going back to this article, though, it did say that Marvel was reportedly discussing options with actor's agent, which already speaks like some bad things are going to happen to Jonathan Majors. I don't know if they will, but it's just it's an interesting thing. But they haven't done anything yet. Nothing has happened yet. Now, with regards to what happened, some text messages were released saying, according to the messages, which have not been independently verified, the woman wrote Majors afterwards that I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. She also said that she was angry that Majors had been arrested and that she had made clear that the charges did not have her blessing. I reiterated how this was not an attack. The woman allegedly wrote, the person who sent the text also indicates she had injuries and that we had a fight. Do we have the picture of the actual text?
Is it at the bottom there? Because I'd have to go find it. I thought it was in there. For crying out loud, Variety. Seriously?
Yeah, Variety just let me down.
It's in our group chat. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, it's probably like way back, but yeah.
Yeah,
whoever finds it first wins.
Yes, it's a scrolling thingy.
Okay, I got it here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you did.
You won then.
Oh, I just typed it in the Google search. That's all.
Gosh darn it.
It's
Variety, that was a terrible reporting. Like, why don't you just have a freaking tweet of that picture?
Yeah, but even if they just posted the screenshot.
Nothing.
Actually, I think the one you had up there actually had a screenshot in it. If not,
the first one, they didn't have it either.
Oh, they didn't? Okay.
No,
well, one of the direct ones did.
I scrolled down to see if they had one, and they didn't. I was like, what? Okay, here it is. Can you read that, Tom?
Yes, I can. I'll even put my girly voice on.
Okay, great.
Please let me know that you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol. I don't know what that means. I didn't call no pros. When they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight, I'm so angry that they did. Almost as angry as I was at you for talking to that bitch. And I'm sorry you're in this position because of me. Well, I will make sure that nothing happens about this. I told them this was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. Love you. They just called again to check on me. And I reiterated how this was not an attack and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about the strangulation and I said point blank, this did not occur and shouldn't be removed immediately. The judge definitely is going to be told this. She insured this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. Is that what I was supposed to say? Okay. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the my cell phone is black.
Oh my God.
Oh, origin, like where like the fruit. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, never mind. The call was to do with me collapsing and passing out after you strangled me. I mean, and your worry as my partner due to your communication prior out of care. She promised all will be relayed. I think that means you're going to be free.
Oh my God. Okay.
I
Ladies.
did some additions.
I noticed.
The paraphrasing was fantastic.
It was great, Tom. Now, ladies, thoughts on this? We'll start with Lila. Lila, what are your thoughts on this one?
I do Tom.
Oh. Okay, hang on. Some artwork is
My
happening.
God, that's beautiful. I want it. I'm gonna give you my address in the private chat. Please send it to me.
Oh my God, he looks so much happier than always.
Look at his mouth, he's crying.
I love it.
God.
How's drawing?
Best drawing ever. Lila, what did you think of this weird text message of this woman who alleges that allegedly this is his girlfriend that got into an altercation with him and then is apologizing now for being the one that was hit.
Oh, she got hit and now she's like apologizing.
Yeah, because she's like she's basically like, I'm sorry that like this happened. I'm so angry that they did. I'm so sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure that nothing happens about this. I told them this was my fault for trying to grab your phone.
Oh, see,
I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you.
it sounds like she's in a toxic relationship, and this is what happens. It's really hard for women to get out of these kind of relationships. Like one moment they're like, I hate this guy, I'm done with him, and then like 2 days later they'll just go right back to it. So it's like a cycle. Sounds like she's trapped in a cycle.
Yes.
So that's
it sounds very sad. Carrie, what are your thoughts on this?
First of all, what were you using some kind of voice changing software? That was fantastic and shocking. Tom.
No,
Anyway.
I'm
that's
just
his
that
voice.
good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's just his voice.
No, I'm kidding. Of course it is, but yeah.
That's amazing.
I can do voices. I'm not that good, but
That's
like, yeah.
amazing. Well, yeah, this reads to me like someone who's, I mean, just my opinion. I have no evidence of this, of course, but it reads to me like someone who's in some kind of abusive relationship, because I have been this person before, embarrassingly, who, someone who was, I let get really close to me in a working relationship for a long period of time. Things kept getting worse, where it wasn't physical, but it was definitely verbal, and, you know, screaming at me, hanging up on me, doing other gaslighting, just inappropriate, deceitful things to me. And somehow when I look back at that period of time now, I look back at some of our messages, I want to throw up, because somehow I got myself into a place where I was the one who was always apologizing to them after they would blow up like a child and scream and hang up. I would be the one that's like, I'm so sorry about what happened. I'm not sure what I said to make you angry. If we could figure it out or talk. It was like this sort of tap dancing, like trying to manage their emotions and also just to understand what was going on. So this really reminds me of those kind of messages where you've somehow gotten yourself into it, maybe thought you'd never be a person who'd be in a relationship like that, but gotten yourself into a place where you're trying to manage the emotions of an abusive person and take the blame for their temper and their problems and their inappropriate behavior.
Right.
And so that's exactly what it reads like to me, that this woman, for whatever reason, really values what he thinks of her and really wants to smooth it over, and it's probably smoothed things over lots of times with this guy. And so I agree with the news articles that are saying these texts don't prove what his lawyers think they do. In fact, for anyone who's familiar with abusive and toxic relationships, they read like someone who's like,
Right.
I'm so sorry that you hit me.
Yeah.
You know,
It
sorry.
read to me like a battered wife syndrome.
Well, Carrie, it's funny you said that because, like, yeah, there was a friend of ours who posted it, or at least a couple of us on this panel, not all of us, I'm sure, but posted this like a slam dunk. Like, I told you all should wait until, innocent until proven guilty. I'm like, yeah, there's no argument there, but I don't think these texts say exactly what you think they do, or they don't exonerate them in the way you think they do.
Exactly.
If anything, they match up with the original story, confirming the original story. If anything, like, the only part that doesn't is her trying to claim about the whole strangulation thing, which, okay, fine, but if there's video here, like, that's the thing that bothered me too, is this lawyer that came out for Jonathan. She's like claiming all these things, the recanting. So this is one of the recants, I guess. I don't know, but where's the video?
Right?
I want to see the video.
Where the video is too, and they haven't.
If that's the one thing that would exonerate him right now, right? Like, or show us how guilty he is, one or the other. But yeah.
And I like, the only thing is that, like, and I asked Jane Theory this because I was like, is there a reason why there is no video yet, like a legal reason? And she replied that there's no legal reason. It's entirely up to the attorneys involved unless the judge orders them not to. So it could be that the defense attorney does not have his own copy to release yet, and or the ADA has just decided not to release anything yet, which would mean to me that there's something very damning in the video. Like, it's not a good video. Like, the way that maybe they released this and they thought that this was going to be a slam dunk, and then they're like, wait, this video also shows that you hit her. So maybe this video is not that great, and it's not going to paint you in the best light.
And
so
Ox could be right here. And this is what I was saying before too, is it could very well be these are two very toxic, nutty individuals.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Who are very toxic together.
Well,
right. It doesn't
just
mean
like
one
the
is
Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's trial.
Exactly.
Like, they were both messed up people.
In that situation, definitely I would say one was more guilty than the other. I'm not going to say that, but we don't know the full ins and outs here. The problem we have here is all the other stuff surrounding this incident as well. And that we talked about, I think, last time a little bit more. But, like, yeah, again, I'm curious what you ladies think about these texts, especially the last one comes off so differently worded, and it almost sounds like it's coming from a completely different person. At least that's my
that's what I thought too. I thought
what do you guys think
on the second one. I was like, ooh, I think
the formatting on the second one is completely different than the first one. Like, you can tell that they like, the first one was kind of I feel like there was somebody sitting next to her on that, and the second one was more like, hey, I'm gonna hurry up and try and get this out while I can.
Almost a copy and paste job.
Look at the sentence. She assured this to me. Like, who talks like that? I don't think anyone talks like that. Have you ladies ever texted like somebody like this before? She assured this to me. Like, it's like, no, that sounds like a legal.
The syntax is different, and the delivery is different. There's like, your friends and how they text. Right. Like, or a lover or anybody who you're talking to generally. You can almost sometimes tell either if they're busy just from a text sometimes. Like, so, like, yes, and not even knowing this individual, I'm not saying that's, I don't think it's too much to say that this doesn't look like it's from the same person, or at least not from the same situation
Kara,
here.
My question to you is, because last week when we were talking about this, you were kind of like very hesitant to comment because, this hasn't been released yet.
Hesitant.
Okay.
I'm still very hesitant because there is no video. Like, we all know there are some pretty shitty women out there that can be very manipulative. That's my stance on it. Is I am of the mindset innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And I just, I know how manipulative and petty women can be to make it look like they are the good guy. And so I'm still staying back. I'm still just waiting for it to all play out. I still don't want to jump into any conclusions. That's
where my mind went to,
personal.
because my initial reaction to this was, okay, well, I'm being told that he hit her indirectly, like, I shouldn't have taken your phone away, blah 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 blah. So it reads to me like a battered wife. But then I've listened to some arguments about this, and I also agree with you, Kara, that women can be batshit crazy. Hoes be crazy.
Yes.
And I've heard arguments where people have talked about how women hit themselves in order to get men into trouble. And like, honestly, my mind didn't go there because I'm not a psychopath. Like, so like, I don't really think about how some crazy psychos actually do that kind of thing to men. And I'm like, ooh.
One thing on that note, Nina, was like, we learned, well, the one thing in here wasn't in the initial report was the whole thing about him calling 911 the night before.
Right.
And when it came out, a lot of people debated on how that looked. Like, he was getting ahead of it. Maybe there was an Amber Heard situation. Maybe she was acting a fool and hurting herself, and he wanted to get, let it be known, let it be on record. And then we come to read this. According to this, it was because she passed out. Doesn't specify how. I mean, I'm assuming they were both drinking, so like that could be a reason. Yeah. But here's the thing that also strikes me about this is he was charged with harassment, and that's a very broad thing in and of itself. There's only a few ways though that it can be enlisted, and I think the reason it was here is because from the initial report, they were dropped off at separate locations. I think he came home, and it started up again. Is what I'm thinking. And because and it may very well been he was just coming home to get his shit, right? Like he's like, I'm just coming to get my fucking toothbrush and some underwear, bitch. Leave me the fuck alone. That could have very well been what it was. And again, I'm not saying she didn't egg this shit on, but here's the difference you have is we want to see the video. Because I don't care. A $105 woman grabbing his hand, comparing to him, like shoving her up against the window or something like that. That's not going to look very good for him.
No, it's not. And that's what I'm thinking is kind of happening. That's why they've held off on releasing it. I just feel like after releasing this text message and not getting the response they thought they were going to get, they're rethinking the video now. Because there's maybe the people aren't just not going to respond to any sort of like reaction to the woman. Because it's possible that the women did actually hit him first and stuff like that. But the reaction to the woman may not necessarily.
And another glaring thing here to me, and this is coming from like my detective side of things, because I am kind of an investigative journalist, so it's kind of my job. Something that is glaring here, she doesn't say, I was lying. She didn't say, none of that's true. She didn't say, I got the bruises and the cut from falling after passing out. And she doesn't even say I passed out from drinking or any specific reason why she passed out.
There was very obvious details that were omitted.
So I don't know if you guys noticed that too from a female perspective. I was curious how that strikes you guys. I mean, Lila, you've been real quiet. I don't know if you want to comment at all, but sorry, go ahead. Whoever.
Now with what Kara said, I'm feeling very conflicted about it.
I think that's what it's meant to be like, because it's just very
well, there's not enough information yet. I mean,
Is he in jail right now, or is he being charged?
No, he got let go.
He was
charged. Yeah, he was charged.
And so, but even if she doesn't want to press charges, do they want to press charges still, or like who's going to press the charges?
That's the situation. Lila is yes. She says she doesn't want to, but in most states, it's a situation where if there's any domestic situation, somebody's going to be charged or hauled to jail.
Well, and what happened was, apparently, Lila, what happened was, according to this too, is that they saw something on her enough to charge him with whatever it was. They must have witnessed some sort of markings.
They actually took their time to charge him. They took like a day and a half to charge him.
So there's a reason that he was charged. So I think that is I think that's also into play here, because it's not like the cops were like, oh, okay, you guys just had a bad fight, like let's call it a day, goodbye. No.
And these laws are kind of in place for a few reasons. One, so like if there is somebody who's battered, one of the number one things they'll do is say, there was no such thing. I fell down the stairs. I did this. Right. It wasn't him. It was whatever 100 excuses they can come up with. So it's to protect the victim. It's also protect the state and the police if they don't take action and then somebody winds up dead or hurt. So that's the thing is there's a lot of states that have these laws, but for them to actually, it's one thing for them to take him to jail for the night, because that's usually how this works. For somebody to be charged, there has to be a reason usually. That's the thing. And he's being charged with, I believe, was it 2nd degree assault, harassment, and I think a few other charges on top of that.
I believe.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. This just reminded me of something really funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. When I was 23, I dated this crazy guy who like strangled the taxi driver because he was drunk and he like strangled the taxi driver. Anyways, And he got arrested, and I had to go like talk to the booking people, and they like try to ask me like, has he hit you before and all this stuff, and I was like, no, but he just went crazy on the taxi driver. I just want to share that story. He just strangled this taxi driver.
That story started in one place and it went a completely different place than I thought it was going to.
This guy had to spend the night in jail, and then he was a crazy person that I dated, but
oh my God.
It was like, I remember I was like being interrogated by the police, and they're like, has he ever done anything to you? And I was like, no, but I mean, I don't think he's normal either.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Carrie just made this switch flip.
Then Carrie shared here what I was kind of talking about is there's a lot surrounding this, right? Like, and we did just touch on some of this stuff before, but evidently you guys might want to comment on some more here. This is an individual who named him by name, and there was another person who didn't name him by name a few months ago, but did confirm that that's who he was speaking about. But
this is just some actor who says he knows him and that he knows some of his other targets. Yeah. Oh. He says, excuse me. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry, I lost.
I can try and make it bigger here.
Make it a little bigger.
Sure.
Tim Nikolai. He says, I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader New York City community have known about him for years. He's a sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. I'm already seeing a bunch of, why didn't you do anything? Folks, people have tried, ultimately needed a victim to come forward. It's both simultaneously awful to know he's still doing this and also a relief that he may never get to do it again. A bunch of us are close with people and sometimes multiple people he has directly harmed. I don't know if they will speak on it. It's completely their decision. Anyway, this is just hearsay. This is just someone saying there's no evidence here. That's just someone saying something. I don't know enough about this guy. We don't have enough information. I just gave my gut reaction on those texts immediately, which is this sounds like someone who's in an abusive relationship apologizing for the abuse. However, I also agree with other points here, and I could be totally wrong if more stuff comes out, because there are women who lie, who will do crazy sociopathic things to falsely accuse men. And
especially men of such a high
status.
Yeah.
And there's also cases where it's like two different kinds of toxic people, like the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. I think the best way I heard that described was by HD Tudor, who has a channel about narcissism. He claims to be a narcissist and psychopath himself. And he characterized her as a narcissist and characterized Depp as a person with narcissistic traits. So slightly different. He gives different definitions of those, but obviously they both have these. It's sort of this thing that, your thorns fit my wounds kind of thing. Like where two people are just, the whole thing is toxic. So it could be that too. But anyway, the point about this text though is, I agree. The lawyers if they thought that was going to prove something, all it does is cloud the issue. Because look at this panel. People can read that and come away with one impression, and another person can read it and come away the exact opposite impression. So,
well, and honestly, I hate people like Amber Heard even more, because when we get stuff
they
like
make
this,
us question.
Everybody's questioning
now.
it. Yeah, it's not you like the victim blaming and the victim questioning has gone to like the next level, because we don't know, are you really a victim? We don't know if you're lying to us and trying to make us into fools, and nobody wants to be a fool. So,
well, and one thing that strikes me in that one Tim Nikolai post, and I don't know if Carrie or Kara and Lila or anybody can speak to this, or even you, Nina, as far as speaking to people who are around celebrities, know celebrities, even spoke to some celebrities. You will hear sometimes these stories. And that's the problem, though, is you're right. Like there's a lot of people who asked everybody, and I felt bad for him, asked a lot of people from, and I hate saying I felt bad for Kevin Smith, but everybody from Kevin Smith to Robert Rodriguez to Quentin Tarantino to anybody who ever worked with Weinstein almost exclusively or quite a bit. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you do anything? How didn't you didn't know? And a lot of them all said the same thing. We all kind of had an idea that there was some tit for tat, some trading going on, and there was the stories, but nobody ever knew of the straight up abuse. And what ones they did know, they couldn't really say anything without the victim backing it up too.
And
right, that's a problem. It's not their place to be speaking on it, right? Like,
and that's kind of like what Russell Hall's hinting at here for $2. Thank you, Russell. Says, if no victim came forward, how did everyone know? And I think that part of the reason for this is that it's not that
these
the
people talk.
Yeah, people talk. Like, people talk with each other. It's the idea of no victim coming forward to press charges is very different than me and, let's say, Kara talking about, you know, oh, like Kara has an abusive boyfriend, or like, you know, Kara heard that so-and-so's, like, you know, Lila's husband's beating her. This is in Minecraft. Okay. Like, I'm just saying people talk. Like, it's not about, but like the fact that like Lila would go and actually press charges, let's say, that would be a different story than, you know, just her talking to a friend of hers, and then, you know, the friend of hers talking to somebody else, and then that's how word gets around, versus people actually coming forward. So that's I think that's what they were talking about. It's like, this person finally decided to press charges on him, and therefore now there's a story. Now there's a story because
like with Weinstein, it's like everyone talks so much they made jokes about it right in front of the public at award shows.
Cosby too, yep.
And Cosby too. And in the comedy world, everyone talked about Cosby. I was just in some small woke part of the comedy world, but I heard stuff about Cosby.
Right.
But coming forward, like going to authorities, following some legal process, like that's different than just talking.
And it also and this is another side of it too, and Russell Hall is correct. You also have to remember, there's also dogpiling to virtue signal, or, you know, they love to tear somebody down who's at the top. And we cannot take away from the fact that Jonathan Majors right now is the it guy in Hollywood. Everybody's trying to, you know, cozy up to him and make him this big deal. The same thing is going to be said as, you know, there's going to be people who are going to try to tear him down, who, for whatever reason, whether they have a legit reason or they're just jealous or selfish. And
apparently it's already worked. Like, according to that article that I was talking about, this the one here,
Disney,
according to this one,
I was hearing similar things. Yep.
Yeah, he's already in trouble with Disney, but also he's already lost a job. Like, the actor has already gone through length of to prove innocence, with the lawyer going as far as
the army campaign.
Yeah, the army campaign. The charges are already showing the impact on Majors' rising career, with the U.S. Army having promptly pulled an ad campaign featuring the star. So his career has already been affected.
Wow.
Now, whether that's going to go into Marvel, that's insane. Like, that would be a totally different level.
I have been hearing rumors that they are weighing their options. But again, this is kind of like the Ezra Miller thing. They were weighing their options for a freaking year with that kid.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've heard that Marvel hasn't made any decisions regarding Majors, but they've met with they met or spoken with his agent discussing potential options going forward. Now, here's the thing with that also is Marvel and Disney could be playing their cards a little bit closer to the chest here because of what happened with the Amber Heard trial and Johnny Depp, because they're probably like, well, I mean, we're not going to do this again. I think they're taking the Carolyn approach on this one. They're like, maybe we shouldn't jump the gun so fast because we don't know what.
And I admire Kara for being able to do that, because I'm too opinionative and I can't. But no, there's one big, huge difference here between the Johnny Depp thing in Disney and the Jonathan Majors thing. And that is, at the time that Disney distanced themselves from Depp, he didn't have any projects in the works.
Right.
Like, there wasn't another Pirates movie necessarily greenlit yet or anything like that. True. They were working on the other one, the girl one, but that was already in place before any of that. Johnny didn't actually get arrested and charged with anything.
Right.
And on the other side, Jonathan Majors did, and he's also supposedly their big baddie for the next X amount of phases of the Marvel Universe.
A lot. Well,
so that's a big difference, and a big difference of how they have to address this. And I do think that, I'm sure, they are factoring in how the Johnny Depp thing affect, how it looked for them as well in that situation. So I don't know what you ladies think about that, but that's another point of view to take this from.
So anybody has any other thoughts on that? Kara, do you have any thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna let it play out, and then I will. That's what
we'll talk about it next Monday, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be updates. We'll be talking about this definitely here on Toxic Femininity, because I'm interested in knowing what's going to happen, whether they're going to release the video. I mean, there's still a lot to be had here.
Unpack. Yeah,
exactly.
Release the video.
I'm gonna go on the opposite end and say he strangled her.
Okay.
Ooh.
So Lila's
like a sex thing.
Are we placing bets on psychos?
Yeah, why not? Let's
him or her. Which one?
Yeah. Kara's.
I vote her.
Oh, you're voting her. Okay.
I vote she's part of the problem.
Okay, so she's part of the problem. Carrie, what about you?
I'm gonna be on Team Lila for this bet that he's the bigger problem.